Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with another part of What If Naruto Was in a Political Marriage. Before continuing this part, I want to tell you guys that I uploaded the What If Naruto Regretful Family Part 4 and final part of that one shot last night, and if you haven't checked that out, please check that out as well. And it will be in a one shot playlist, you can check that out and other one shot as well. And without further ado, let's continue. Chapter 13, The Awakening. Ugh, what? Where am I? Naruto asked. He was in a hospital bed. He noticed that he was almost completely covered in bandages. There was also a mop of green hair resting on his thigh. Phew! He nudged his leg up and down a few times, but she was out cold. He breathed out a sigh. What happened? Naruto furrowed his brow in preparation for hard thinking. There was that weird spider guy and that weird explosion guy, but Fu and Neji took care of them. Then there was this weird chick who kept on playing a flute, with a weird dude who was all hunched over, but Tenten and Tamari said they'd take care of them. Then there was a weird 2/1 person thing with a guy who had red where the white pants of the eyes should have been, but Hana and of them. Then there was this weird bone guy and a weird shark guy, but Yuichiro and Kiba took care of him. He began to get lost in his own thoughts. Okay, then Sasuke jumped out of a barrel and I chased him to a waterfall with a couple of statues there. Then we fought. Oh, I asked the Kyuubi for chakra. Then we fought some more. Then he turned into something else. Then we fought some more. And he was unconscious and I was about to drag him back to Konoha. Naruto started to rack his brain for answers for what happened next. That's right, Itachi was there. After I smacked Sasuke Teme down, then he looked at me. Naruto tried to think of anything else but came up flat. Fu was still on his leg. He looked out the window. It had to be at least noon. Fu shouldn't be asleep. Hey Fu! He said a little more forcefully. He also shook his leg a bit more. She groaned and tried to sit up a little. Urgh, I told you I'm not leaving, she muttered out without opening her eyes. She then fell back onto Naruto's leg and began to sleep again. Oi, wake up! It isn't healthy to sleep at. Naruto shouldn't really talk considering that when he usually woke up on the weekends, but he was also curious and needed answers. She groaned again and lifted her head up fully to look at Naruto straight in the eyes. Her eyes brightened considerably and suddenly found the strength to immediately glomp onto Naruto, who began to shake and sob slightly on his shoulders. Naruto was extremely worried now. When she looked at him, he noticed that a portion of her face was a tone lighter than the rest of her face, and it looked like it traveled all the way down her body. In fact, he could see it on her back as well. He didn't really know to do he didn't really know to do anything else other than to awkwardly stroke her back and wait for her to stop sobbing. She eventually quieted down, rested her head on his shoulder and promptly fell asleep again. Fu was sitting on a chair next to the hospital bed, with her upper body leaned against his body. It didn't look like a very comfortable position. Naruto sighed and dragged her onto his bed, using her torso as a crib. The bed was a twin, so it was a snug fit, and he was hooked up to a lot of different medical machines, which made positioning weird. But he made it work. Naruto knew that it would be counterintuitive to interrogate Fu when she was in such an emotional state, so he settled down on waiting for her to wake up naturally. His eyes began to drop. He was sleepy too apparently. Naruto settled up against Fu and decided that he needed a nap. So that's what he did. He woke up with a nurse trying to get Fu to leave. Hey, you can't sleep with him like that. The nurse was shaking Fu, trying to make her wake up. He opened his eyes and murmured, It's okay. The nurse gasped and backed away. I'm sorry, we should have been alerted that you were awake. What's wrong with everyone? He thought to himself. How long was I asleep? You've been out for 13 days. He was about to scream out, what? But caught himself before he could. Fu was still asleep after all. What happened with the mission? Where's Sasuke? The nurse looked slightly downtrodden. You should ask her when she wakes up. I don't have all the details. Right on her cue, Fu raised her head. What? I'll let you have some alone time. She left the room. Fu, what happened with the mission? Naruto asked severely. She sat up on his bed and started to stretch her body. After a sigh, she began. It was a failure. Your friend Sasuke was obtained by Orochimaru. Naruto looked down in sadness. Somehow he had been expecting that. Well, how is everyone? Fu looked away evasively. Not so good. He looked at her with a hard stare. What do you mean, not so good? She sighed. Most of our team got seriously hurt. Kurotsuchi was in intensive for a week after they retrieved her. That Hinata girl was almost dead when they found her, and she was that lucky that the reinforcement had blood transfusions and a skilled medic, or else she would have died. Naruto's eyes widened in horror. Neji almost died as well. Neji almost died as well. He had a couple of holes in his chest. Some of my skin got burned off from an explosion, but it's okay. Tsunade was able to create some new skin for me, Fu said, trying to slightly soothe Naruto. It didn't work. What about everyone else? Hana, her Ninken, and Shikamaru all had various elemental damage and had a lot of blunt force trauma. Temari and Tenten got sliced up bad and were poisoned. Kiba and Yujito were cut up really bad and both suffered from chakra exhaustion. Naruto started to look mortified. But don't worry, everyone recovered. What else? I don't think it's such. What else? The entire tree almost fell apart. All the Kages teleported back here and argued over whether that they should still try to make the tree work. Apparently Tamari burst in and gave quite the rousing speech because everything's okay now. Why would she do that? She wanted peace between the nations, Fu said with a shrug. Oh, I guess that makes sense. All the Kages left. Tsunade gave her inauguration speech and everyone was really worried for you. What happened to me? You were comatose for 13 days and someone shoved a hand in your chest. Nobody knew if you were going to wake up. Fu started to tear up again. She looked at ground and sobs started to wreck her body. You're my best friend. You're my only friend. Please don't ever go away, she said in between her sobs. He laid a palm on the top of her head. She looked up at him and he gave her an eye-blinding smile. Don't worry, I can't die. Not until I become a Hokage. A moment passed. A grin appeared on her tear-stained face. Thanks. She started to chuckle a little. What's so funny? Nothing's funny. I'm just really happy. Her chuckling was contagious and it spread to Naruto. They both sat there for a while, laughing and crying like lunatics. I should probably go. Tell everyone that you're okay. Okay, Naruto said, slightly downtrodden. Oh wait, is the marriage thing still like a thing? Naruto asked. She gave him a smile. Of course, it is silly. She shut the door behind him. He leaned back on the pillows. He was really shocked when Fu started crying for him. Most of the condolences that he gave her were out of instincts, things that he didn't think about saying, but still did. Naruto didn't know what he meant so much to Fu, and finding out that he did was slightly frightening. The marriage between him and his wives was meant to be a forced ordeal, something that they didn't want and was only done with the thought of the citizens of elemental nations in mind. They weren't supposed to care for each other. They weren't supposed to love each other. They were just supposed to bear with the pain and put up with each other the best they could. Yet as he sat there in thoughts, he knew that Yujito, Fu, Kurotsuchi and Temari meant a lot to him. Yujito felt like an older sister, scolding and comforting him when he needed it. Fu was like a close friend, there for him to teach him stuff, always smiling. Kurotsuchi was like a begrudging friend, always playing pranks and getting into fights with him. Temari was kind of like a straight man, always there to comment on the absurdity of the situations and help reel them in. Reel them in. At least for now, in my opinion. Back to the story. I guess that this is okay, even if I can't find love, and even if they can't find love. This isn't the worst situation it could be. Somehow, in the 2 days and 3 nights that he had interacted with them, they had become precious people to him. I'm going to do my best to protect them, that they never get hurt again, he thought to himself with an air of finality about it. Link break, hidden Akatsuki base. It took a while for everyone to get back and meet up again. They steamed for all of their sustained injuries. While this whole operation was a colossal fuck up, Hidan started, says the religious nut who was defeated by a Ganin, so you don't have any room to talk. Yeah, they either capitalized, it, italicized, underlined, and bolded the word Ganin, just to show his sheer annoyance at Hidan. You were defeated by a Ganin too, so shut the fuck up before I sacrifice to you, Jashin-sama. I was given faulty information. She wasn't supposed to know how to fly. But guess what? She could fucking fly. I wasn't prepared. Yeah. What's your excuse? I couldn't see her, the little fucker. But that brat was a main branch member of the Yuga family. I even stabbed her, but she still came at me and shut down my chakra, so I stabbed her again. Eden said with a maniac smile, barely comprehensible. Kakuzu sighed explosively. I lost 3 hearts with the Hachibi showed up with some puppet user. I was supposed to take down the Ichibi, not the only Jinchuriki that could stab through my iron defense with lightning blades. Obtaining 3 powerful hearts is going to take a lot of time. And time is money. Kisame looked annoyed. I was supposed to take on the Nibi, but the Ichibi showed up too, along with some taijutsu freak. Sasori didn't show any outward emotion, but his tone spoke of annoyance. I was sidled up with a wind jutsu user and a throwing weapon user. They cut through my puppets like fucking butter, and that foul-mouthed girl kept on putting me in genjutsu. All that artwork lost, and just when I had them poisoned, some fat-ass Eva shinobi bailed them out. Didn't you kill them? I never confirmed the kill. Who was supposed to take the Kyuubi? Kisame asked. Hidan. But at the start, there were only 3 Jinchurikis. The other 2 came later with the reinforcement. So I didn't stop him from engaging the 2 Konoichi that split off the group. Kakuzu said. How did you manage to not get taken by Konoha Shinobi? Sasori asked Hidan. I guess they didn't bother trying to tie down the guy who was stabbed in the heart. So when I woke up, I just walked away, Hidan said, smirking. Hey, leader-sama, Orochimaru is going to pay, right? Deidara said, brandishing his mouth hands. He got us 5 Jinchuriki, was able to separate them all, and provided you with support to capture them. That was the deal. The deal fell apart. He provided us a whole team of shinobi and another whole team of reinforcement. Yeah. He kept his side of the deal. Don't go after him. You'll regret it. Pain logged off the hologram thingy. Spaghetti. He done logged off. Everyone took turns logging off until only Itachi was left. No one found out. Good. He logged off as well. Link break. Naruto's hospital room. There was a knock on his door. Come in. A moment passed. Then another. Then another. Just when he was about to call out again, Hinata opened the door and stepped in. Hey Hinata, are you okay? Fu told me that you got hurt bad. She was quiet. Is something wrong? Should I call a nurse? Naruto, she said quietly. Yes, I just wanted to tell you. She paused and took a deep breath. When she had collected herself, she began again. Ever since I was little, I looked up to you. When I felt self-conscious about my strength, I would think of you, and I would feel a little better, and I would try my hardest to get strong. It's because of you that I fight. I just wanted to let you know that... Oh, thanks, Hinata. Naruto said with a big cheesy grin. Naruto, I love you, Naruto. This rendered Naruto speechless. He couldn't even grasp the concept of another person being romantically in love with him. Hinata, I, I don't, I don't know what to say. She had a small, sad smile on her face. You don't have to say anything. I know that you're in an arranged marriage and that you won't be allowed to love anybody outside of your wives. I just wanted to let you know how I feel. Before he could talk, she exited the room with a great haste. He called out to her, but she was gone. Naruto felt like he was in a glass case of emotions. He needed to do something. He needed to get out of the stifling bed that he was sitting in. He had to talk to someone. Naruto threw the covers off his person and gingerly began getting out of his bed. He hadn't moved for the better part of 2 weeks, so his muscles were sore and woefully underused. He pulled off all the medical instruments on his body, got out of bed, and walked out of the room, mincing all the way. He walked until he saw a secretary at a desk. Can I ask you where someone is? He asked. Naruto needed to talk to someone, or ask for advice, or anything, really. He needed to do anything other than think. Sure, who are you looking for? Who was he looking for? Who said that everyone eventually got better, but Kurotsuchi was in intensive for a week. There is no way that Kurotsuchi could be walking around after that. Kurotsuchi, no last name. She is in the recovery ward. That way, she directed him to the recovery ward. Naruto walked as fast as he could without causing him discomfort. Just when he was about to enter the door, it was opened from the inside by a big, burly man with a pronounced lower jaw. He was really imposing. Who are you? Naruto Uzumaki. His eyes opened wide in surprise and then narrowed. So, you're my stepson. Whatever Naruto was expecting, it wasn't that. Hi, it's an honor to meet you. This sentence that he uttered out turned into a question at the end. Mostly because he didn't know how to react in that situation. Kitsuchi did not look amused. Look, I know that Kuro followed you on her own violation, but his hands balled into fists and turned into rocks. If you ever hurt her, treat her or not, I will end you. Saying what he wanted to say, Kitsuchi walked away from him. With trepidation, Naruto entered the room. Hey, sorry about my pops. He can be a bit overwhelming. Kurotsuchi didn't look good. She had an unhealthy pallor on her face. There was a general air of weakness that surrounded her entire being, and she seemed slightly meeker than usual. Hey, Pinksuchi, he said with a cheeky grin. He might have been having some personal problems, but he knew that she needed some cheering up. Hey yourself, Baldy. Naruto furrowed his eyebrow in confusion. You know, because I covered you in shaving cream and you threw a hissy fit. Oh, that's right, I remember. A lot has been going on, hasn't it? He smiled sheepishly. I suppose, she said weakly, closing her eyes. Oh, I'm sorry, you probably want some rest time. Nah, it's fine. My eyes are a bit sore, that's all. In truth, it's getting really bored around here. Don't you have like various visitors? Well, my dad got permission to teleport here, but other than him, Akatsuki and the rest of my sister wives, I not gotten a lot of other visitors. Not even from the retrieval team. Well, that Shikamaru guy came over once, but he mostly dropped by to make sure I wasn't dead. She gave a light, humorous laugh. A slight, comfortable silence descended upon them. Hey, Kurotsuchi, yeah, can I ask you for the advice? I'm not going anywhere. Thanks. So, hypothetically, situation time. You really like this guy. Like this guy means all the world to you. Okay, and this guy never really returned your affection, but you still really like him, and you recently find out that you can never date him ever because of personal reasons. She looked at him and, well, what do you do? I've never been in love, so I can't say what I would or wouldn't do. I can tell you to forget about her, but you probably wouldn't take too kindly to that, would you? I can tell you to try and find someone else to love, but unless you truly love any of us, that wouldn't do any good. I can tell you to give up on love, but that's too morbid, and I don't like that. Note aside, yeah, don't worry. I think I've given up on her. Oh, yeah, all I ever wanted was for her to be happy, to see that smile on her face, but I won't be able to make that happen. Not while I'm married to four other people. So you thought about this a lot, haven't you? Hmm. Okay, next hypothetical question. There's this guy that you don't really know. He's kinda nice but really shy, and you don't know a lot about him. And out of the blue, he suddenly confesses to you, but you won't be able to date him because you're married. And he confessed to you even though he knew that you're married. She gave him a strange look. You've been having a tough day, haven't you? He nodded. Okay, if she confessed to you even though she knew that you're married and won't be able to love her back, then that sounded like she just needed to get it off her chest. Huh? Look, she wouldn't have confessed to you if you were just a passing fancy. The fact that she confessed sounded like she just needed catharsis. Catharsis? I mean, release. She confessed to you because if she did have never been able to get over you. Oh, thanks, Kurotsuchi. You're kinda smart. Nah, I just remember hearing about a similar situation, and my pops explained it to me. Another comfortable silence fell upon them. What happened if we meet up again? Like what am I supposed to do? I don't know what you should do, shithead. Wow, thanks. I feel so much better, Naruto said flatly. Well, I never been in this situation before. I can only give advice when I have advice to give. Naruto sighed. Fair enough. The doors flung open with a bang. In the doorway stood Yujito, who sighed in relief. She looked to her side and shouted, "He's in here!" Yujito collected herself and walked in calmly. Then Fu came flying in, and Tamari walked in sedatively afterwards. We were worried when you weren't in your bed. Yujito stated. Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have left. I probably should have left a note or something. Naruto laughed sheepishly. Yujito didn't look amused. Don't ever do something stupid like that again. Ever. What? Don't ever make me worried that I wasn't able to protect the people precious to me. He noticed that Yujito had received a few more scars on her person, most noticeably a scar that went from the top of her temple and curved all the way to her chin. Tamari also got a few more nicks on her, but they were red and splotchy. I don't know what that word means, but it spells out Splotchy. You can Google it and find it out yourself. Now let's continue. Probably a side effect from the poison. This made Naruto contemplate. Look, guys, I'm really sorry. Tamari raised an eyebrow. Sorry for what? Naruto looked at Kurotsuchi in her hospital bed and then at Fu's mismatched face and Fujito's scarring and at Tamari's sign of poisoning. You all got really badly hurt because of me, because of the mission that I went on, and you went on with me in order to protect me. I got to get stronger so I can protect you all. Yusto laughed humorlessly. You need to protect us, says the guy who got a hand shoved in his chest and went comatose for 2 weeks. If anything, we need to protect you. Do you really have such little faith in our abilities as shinobi? Tamari asked. Yeah, I mean, I was seriously worried when I heard that you might not wake up, and so was Yusto, and so was Kurotsuchi, and even if she didn't show it, and so was Tamari. We needed to get stronger to protect you, Fu said. It wouldn't do the treaty any good if you up and die on a mission, Kurotsuchi stated. Naruto looked at all of their faces. They were the faces of people who were convicted to a cause to protect him. Okay, we all get stronger together. We'll beat down anybody who wants to hurt us. We'll defeat the Akatsuki. We'll protect the elemental nations. He stood up and put his fist out. They all met him at the center, signifying their resolve to protect not only each other but also the peace of the elemental nations. Oi! Except for Kurotsuchi, because she was stuck on a bed in hospital and couldn't barely move. They all awkwardly shuffled to the bed so Kurotsuchi would be included in as well. After maintaining the position for several moments, they all broke apart. So that's all well and good. Uh, but how do we go about getting stronger? Kurotsuchi asked. After I gave my speech to the Kage, they said that they were planning on sending Naruto around the villages in random pattern so he could train with the different shinobis there and help with trying to change their perceptions. But that was the plan for before he went comatose. I don't know how if it changed since then. What about us? Kurotsuchi asked. We would stay at our villages and train with Naruto when he comes around. Oh, I wanted to see what the rest of the world is like, Fu whined. Isn't it slightly counterintuitive for only Naruto to go around the nations? What about Konoha changing its perceptions? Yuito asked. I don't know, Temari stated. Well, I'm awake now. Why don't we just ask her? I don't see why not, Yuito stated. They all began to walk to the door, but Kurotsuchi interrupted them. Hey, can you take me with you? Is that okay? I feel good enough. Someone might need to push me in a chair, but I really need to get out of this room, please. If you're sure that's okay. Naruto opened up the medical drawer. Naruto opened up the room's medical drawer and pulled out a collapsible wheelchair. You sure know your way around the hospital, Tamari commented. I got sent here all the time when I was little. Training accidents, their emergency everything here. He unfolded the chair. Do you need help? He asked Kurotsuchi. I'm fine. She raised herself from the bed and slowly made the movements to get onto the chair, but slipped. Luckily, Naruto was there to catch her and gingerly lowered her down to the chair. Well, that could have been really bad, Naruto said. Whatever, onwards my gimpy steed, Kurotsuchi said with her hand pointed towards the door and her index finger extended. On your word, Pink Tsuchi Hime. Don't call me that. Don't be like that. Princess Pink Rock has a nice ring to it. Naruto started to push her out of the room. I swear to fuck, if you ever call me that again, I will encase you in cement. Hehe, if I die, who you need to get stronger for? Who said it kills you? Naruto got really scared at that. They walked down the hospital, checked themselves out, and made to the academy administration. Hey Tamari, how were you able to convince the Kage to continue with the treachery? I basically just said that you're too stubborn a guy to ever let going into a coma stop you from your goals. Is that what happened? Kurotsuchi asked. Her face went to her trademark mischievous mode. I didn't know you thought so highly of him. You don't have a thing for him, right? Do you? Stoic-chan. Tamari and Naruto slightly blushed under her ministrations. Of course I don't. He's just a means to obtain peace, she said defiantly. Oh, of course, Stoic-chan. Just a means to an end. Whatever you say. What do you mean by that? And stop calling me fucking stoic. Oh, nothing really. I just noticed that you never really talk to him when you're together, and you think highly enough of him that you think he can stop all the war in all the elemental nations, and that he did save your brother from insanity. How do you know what he did to Gaara? So you don't deny that the other 2 points. How does me not talking to him signify affection? Who knows, Stoic-chan? Might be a dandere. I'm not, and the only reason that he's able to stop all wars in the elemental nation is because his dad messed up a big time. Ouch, you might hurt your boyfriend's feeling with these sharp words of yours. Tamari looked like she was about to explode, but her anger face quickly turned mischievous. Oh, and what about you? Playing pranks on him, yelling at him, complaining about him. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that you're acting just like that to just gain his affection. Kurotsuchi didn't look phased in the slightest. Yup, that's right, I love Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. This was said with implied sarcasm. Kurotsuchi was saying this loudly enough that the people who were walking next to them had no choice but to acknowledge her ravings. He is the light to my darkness. He is the reason I get up every morning. He who I fantasize about every night. If I can't have his love, I'll kill myself. Kurotsuchi was giggling now and was barely able to articulate her words of incredibly sarcastic affection. I wanna have Naruto Uzumaki's children and brag about those blessed children to all my stone countrymen. Naruto was extremely uncomfortable at this point. Only the thoughts of his whiskered face, of his blonde hair, of his strong physique gets me through the day. It is only because of his holy shit. Looking at the Looking at the rage of Naruto and his wife was the father of Kitsuchi. His face spoke of severe disappointment, and after beholding his daughter and her raveling of love, he slowly walked away. No, 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 shit face, walk me over to my dad, she shouted, somehow managing to find enough power to do so. Even in her extremely weak state, he began to run in his direction, but Kitsuchi flashed away in a body flicker. Before Kurotsuchi was able to tell him that her exclamations of love were only a joke, she screamed out in frustration, which cracked midway through. Lowering her head in embarrassment, shame, and all-around disappointment, she decided to stop talking for the day. See what happens when you joke around all day, Temari said to her in a chiding tone. Wanna see what happens when I clog your urethra full of cement? Kurotsuchi said quietly in a rasp without bothering to raise her head. Oh, what was that? I couldn't hear anything over the thoughts of you having to comfort your dad after he heard your screams of wanting to get pregnant. Shut the fuck up. It was supposed to be funny. Indeed it was, and everyone other than Kurotsuchi was having trouble keeping their amusement. Fu couldn't bear it anymore and started laughing uproariously. This set off a chain of reactions among the group, where even the usually cold Yusto was laughing slightly at Kurotsuchi's expense. This is what happens when you imply sarcasm instead of using it. Implying sarcasm is saying things that would be so strange and outlandish that people brush it off as untrue or as humor. Using sarcasm is the changing on one's tone of voice to institute that what they are saying is untrue. Kurotsuchi implied sarcasm, but her father apparently didn't understand it as humor. Naruto had a deep understanding of both terms. You can't spell smartness. You can't spell smartass without smart. After all, don't worry, my precious Kurotsuchi Hime-sama. I could never bear the thought of you being embarrassed to make my dearest love happy again. I'll do anything I can to clear up any misunderstandings with her father, Naruto said, using sarcasm instead of implying it. Wouldn't want any misunderstandings, would we? She grunted. They spent the rest of their week to administration in relative silence, with the group bursting out in laughter at random points. It's kind of weird how everyone's staring at us, Fu whispered. It was true, everyone was staring at them walk. Naruto didn't notice it before due to him being distracted with pushing Kurotsuchi along with her and Temari's interactions and antics, but the way that they were staring was different than usual. There was a motley of feelings being portrayed on the faces of the people of Konohagakure. There was confusion, disappointment, and even genuine remorse. Has this been comatose? No, but I have been getting more weird stares after the inauguration. I guess it must be because I'm married to the guy who's the son of the most famous person in Konoha, but I wasn't present for the speech, so I don't know how people recognize me, Fu said. You're wearing a waterfall headband on your arm. People can connect dots, you know, Temari said. Yeah, but still I'm used to getting stares, but these are different. They all nodded in agreement. They were all people who garnered affection. They were all people who garnered attention and were generally known by the common people. Being direct relatives of Kage, Jinchuriki, or holder of a Kakegenkai would do that to people, and after noticing their stares, it was hard to ignore them. Luckily, they were close to administration by then, and they weren't bothered much by the stairs along the short walk into the building. Kurotsuchi was presented with another problem, namely being more stairs. Get it? It's a pun. They were being bothered by the stares of the people, and now they're getting bothered by physically walking stairs. You extremely humble author continued to laugh to himself at his own joke. By the way, the author here is Gentleman Kitsune, so this joke goes off to him. Without further ado, let's continue. Getting back to the story, Naruto wasn't strong enough to pick up Kurotsuchi and walk up the stairs with her. Ninja were touted as being extremely physically strong. However, ninja usually prefer to work on speed when considering physical care. Being strong and being able to lift things up is all well and good, but one is capable of inflicting almost as much damage by transferring the momentum of their speed upon their target. And they got to remain agile and dexterous without the bulky body that becoming strong would entail. That wasn't to say that Naruto wasn't strong. He just wasn't strong enough to safely pick up a girl who has much more mass than him in his situation in a wheelchair and lift her upstairs. "Oi, shithead! Kuro wants up," she said while lifting her arms in a childish manner. Reached aside and picked her up by her armpits and placed her on her back in the piggyback position. "You want your bottle too? Give it. I want it," Kurotsuchi said, continuing the joke. The rest of the group was holding back more laughter. Aren't babies a bit young to be having babies? Tamari asked. This immediately drew Kurotsuchi's ear. "Shut up, Stoic-chan." They all walked up to the administration room in different states of amusements. It ranged from no amusement at all to extreme amusement in all forms. Upon opening the door, they were greeted with Snarde loudly and pronounceably stamping a document. It appeared that she did so with great enthusiasm. Sitting across her was a man with blue hair, an eye patch, and seal on his earring. That read "Seal." A younger boy with light blue hair, filed teeth, glasses, and a huge sword on his back, and a mature-looking woman wearing a slightly revealing blue dress, red lipstick, and had her hair up in a herringbone pattern that reached her thighs. "Naruto, you're awake. I knew that getting knocked comatose wouldn't keep you down for long." "So this is him," the woman across from Tsunade said with a smile. "Yup, it's funny timing with Naruto and his wives all here. Naruto Uzumaki, meet your newest wife, Maid Tsurumi, the leader of the rebel fraction of the Hidden Mist." Silence regained upon the entire room, so much silence, an absolute inappropriate amount of silence. "You gotta be fucking kidding me," was the Naruto's thought. As this is where I'm gonna leave this off, guys. If you like this video, please leave a like and comment down below, subscribe to my channel, and sorry for the stutter. I don't know why, but my tongue is slipping so much today. Well, oh well. Enough of that. This is Apollo Chia and I am signing out. Peace. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I almost forgot to give you guys a shout out. So these are the shout out mentions for today. Oh yeah, Rishabh Sharma. I will make What If Naruto Went Back in Time and Trained Hashirama. Yeah, if you guys want that, leave a like and comment down below. And believe it or not, Rishabh Sharma, I will make it. Oh yeah, I also got a comment from AD. Well, this is it for today, guys. This is Apollo Chiha and I'm signing out. And if your name is not in this, I'm sorry, it might get into the next one if you comment down below, I guess. So this is Apologia and I am signing out. Peace.